Former President Bill Clinton is in New York today testifying before lawmakers in a closed-door deposition. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton testified just yesterday. Now, this is all related to the House Oversight Committee's investigation into late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
Yesterday, Ms. Clinton deferred a lot of questions to her husband today. There were at least a dozen times when she said, "You'll have to ask my husband that. I can't answer that." So we already had a big portfolio of questions for him, and that increased yesterday. So we look forward to that. Well, I think everyone's seen there are a lot of photos that have been released by the Department of Justice as well as the Epstein estate. There are a lot of email correspondence that included President Clinton. We know President Clinton had, and Secretary Clinton confirmed this yesterday, Jeffrey Epstein was in the White House 17 times while Bill Clinton was president. We know that Bill Clinton flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane at least 27 times.
Hi everyone, Adam is ready. Let me tell you about the 3 scandals that just collided at the exact worst possible moment for Donald Trump. And when you see them together, the picture that emerges is devastating. Not because of any single bombshell, but because of the pattern they reveal about how this president operates.
When did you first learn of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes?
I think in 2008 when he was prosecuted. There's nothing that I saw when I was around him that made me realize he was trafficking women, and I never.
Did you ever witness Mr. Epstein sexually abuse or assault young women or girls?
No.
Did you ever witness Mr. Epstein receive massages from young women or girls?
Not that I recall.
Did Mr. Epstein ever discuss sexual acts of any kind with you?
No.
Bill Clinton just testified under oath about Jeffrey Epstein. The Pentagon just admitted senior officials shared classified war plans in an unsecure group chat that accidentally included a journalist. And a decade-old story about Trump refusing to pay campaign staffers is suddenly relevant again because it fits a pattern that's now undeniable.
Did you ever have any sexual contact with young women or girls in the presence of Epstein or Maxwell?
No.
Did you ever have sexual contact with any young woman or girl introduced to you by Epstein or Maxwell?
No.
Mr. President, with the benefit of hindsight, were there things you witnessed that could have suggested that Epstein was trafficking and sexually abusing young women and girls?
I do not believe so.
3 different stories, one consistent truth. Trump uses people until they're no longer useful, ignores rules until they break, and rewrites history whenever it's convenient. Let's start with Clinton's testimony, because this is the one that directly threatens Trump's carefully constructed narrative about Epstein. Bill Clinton sat down with House investigators conducting the Epstein probe and answered questions under oath, meaning if he lied, he could face perjury charges and prison time. He told them he never witnessed any of Epstein's abuse during the years they moved in the same social circles. He said if he had known what Epstein was doing to young women and girls, he would have reported him immediately. That part of Clinton's testimony protects Clinton. It's self-serving, and everyone knows it. But the part that matters for Trump is what Clinton said about their relationship. Clinton testified that Trump boasted about having great times with Epstein during the period when they were both part of the same elite social scene in New York and Palm Beach. That directly contradicts Trump's current claim that he barely knew Epstein and wasn't close to him. But here's the real bombshell. Trump has spent years telling a specific story about why he cut ties with Epstein. He says he kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago because he discovered Epstein was behaving inappropriately with young women. It's a story that makes Trump look prescient and moral, like he recognized Epstein as a predator before anyone else did and took action. Clinton testified that Trump told him the falling out was over something completely different. A real estate dispute. A land deal gone bad. Trump and Epstein competing for the same Palm Beach property. Business, not morality. That's 2 completely different explanations. One given under oath by Clinton, who faces prison if he lied. the other given by Trump in interviews and speeches where he can say whatever he wants without legal consequences. Democrats on the House committee are now making a simple argument. If Clinton can be subpoenaed and forced to testify under oath about Epstein, there's no reason Trump should be exempt. They're calling for Trump to be subpoenaed to answer questions about his Epstein connections under oath, where he can't change his story without committing perjury. Think about the legal risk for Trump. He said he barely knew Epstein. There are photos of them together at parties. He said he banned Epstein for bad behavior. The timeline doesn't match other evidence. He's claimed the falling out was about morality. Clinton says it was about real estate. Under oath, with skilled prosecutors asking questions, any of those contradictions could become the basis for perjury charges. That's why Trump's team will fight a subpoena with everything they have. Testifying about Epstein under oath is a legal minefield for a man who has told multiple versions of the same story for years. Now let's talk about the Pentagon leak because it shows the same disregard for rules and consequences playing out in a context where American lives are at stake. Senior Trump officials were using a Signal group chat to discuss detailed Yemen strike plans. We're not talking about vague strategy conversations. We're talking about the exact timing of attacks, specific targets that would be hit, even what munitions would be used. This is exactly the kind of operational security information that enemies could use to prepare defenses or target American forces if they intercepted it. And they accidentally included a journalist from The Atlantic in the chat. A reporter had access to detailed war plans before they were executed. If that information had been published or leaked, it could have compromised the entire operation and endangered every American service member involved. The White House admitted the chat was real and contained the sensitive information The Atlantic reported. They can't deny it. They can't claim it was exaggerated. They have to own that senior officials treated classified war plans like casual conversation. National security experts are calling this shocking and dangerous because it shows a complete breakdown of basic operational security protocols. Internal bulletins had warned about Signal's security risks. Officials had been explicitly told not to use it for classified information or operational planning. They ignored those warnings because following the rules was less convenient than using an app they preferred. Democrats are pointing out that this unsecure war planning could have gotten U.S. troops killed. If adversaries had gained access to that chat, they would have known exactly when and where American forces were attacking. They could have prepared ambushes. They could have set traps. American lives were put at risk because Trump's team prioritized convenience over security. This isn't an isolated incident. It fits a broader pattern of Trump and his administration treating security protocols as suggestions rather than requirements. Trump himself stored classified documents in unsecure locations at Mar-a-Lago. He showed classified materials to people without clearances. His staff followed his example. And now we have senior officials sharing strike plans in an app after being explicitly warned not to. The unpaid staff story might seem small compared to Epstein and Pentagon leaks, but it completes the pattern in an important way. Going back to 2016, Trump's campaign was exposed for running on free labor. Policy staffers in Washington worked for months developing proposals, expecting to be paid for their work. The promised paychecks never arrived. When they complained, they were told the campaign didn't have money or payment would come later. It never did. At least 10 senior aides were listed as unpaid in campaign finance filings. This wasn't a one-time accounting error. It was systematic. The campaign took their work, used their expertise, and then refused to pay them when the bills came due. This pattern extends far beyond campaign staff. Trump has a decades-long history of stiffing contractors, vendors, lawyers, and employees at his businesses. Contractors who worked on Trump properties have sued for unpaid bills totaling millions. Vendors who supplied goods to Trump businesses have written off debts when Trump refused to pay. Lawyers who represented Trump have had to sue him to collect their fees. The fact that this continued into his political campaigns and now his administration shows it's not about cash flow problems or accounting mistakes. It's about how Trump views obligations to other people. They're optional. They're things you can ignore when they become inconvenient or when you can get away with it. Now look at these three stories together because the pattern is unmistakable. With Epstein, Trump was happy to socialize and party when it was fun and useful. When Epstein became toxic, Trump rewrote history to claim he'd always known Epstein was bad and had heroically cut him off. Clinton's sworn testimony exposes that rewrite as false. The falling out was about business, not morality. With the Pentagon leak, Trump's team used military personnel and operational plans as props for showing strength. They ignored security protocols designed to protect those same personnel. They treated classified information casually. And when it blew up, they had to admit it was real and hope the damage wasn't worse than they knew. With unpaid staff, Trump used young people's labor and expertise to build his campaign. He promised them compensation. He took their work, and then he didn't pay them. When they quit or complained, he moved on to new people to exploit. In every case, Trump uses people and resources while they're useful. He ignores rules and obligations that get in the way. And when things go wrong or people become liabilities, he discards them and rewrites the story to make himself look better. The political implications of these three scandals converging are significant because they reinforce each other. The Clinton testimony makes Trump's Epstein denials harder to believe. The Pentagon leak raises questions about his fitness as commander-in-chief. The unpaid staff story undercuts his branding as a great businessman who takes care of his people. Democrats now have concrete basis to demand Trump testify about Epstein under oath. They have evidence that his team ignored security warnings and put troops at risk. They have a decades-long pattern of Trump refusing to pay people who work for him. And voters are watching. Trump's approval numbers are already at second-term lows across every major issue. The economy is underwater. Inflation is a disaster. And now, week after week, new stories emerge that paint the same picture of a president who treats rules, obligations, and people as disposable. The Clinton testimony doesn't accuse Trump of Epstein's crimes. It doesn't claim Trump participated in abuse, but it blows up Trump's carefully crafted narrative about bravely cutting off Epstein. It puts a different explanation on the record under oath, and it creates precedent for forcing Trump to do the same. The Pentagon leak doesn't prove Trump personally shared classified information this time, but it shows his administration operates with the same disregard for security that characterized his own handling of classified documents. It shows warnings are ignored, protocols are broken, and troops are put at risk because following rules is less convenient than doing what people want. The unpaid staff story isn't new, but it rounds out the pattern in a way that makes the other scandals harder to dismiss. When you see that Trump has been stiffing people for decades, that he treats campaign staff the same way he treats contractors and vendors, it becomes clear this isn't about mistakes or isolated incidents. It's about character. Here's the bottom line. Bill Clinton's sworn testimony contradicts Trump's story about Epstein. The Pentagon leak shows Trump's team ignoring security protocols that protect American lives. The unpaid staff history reveals a decades-long pattern of Trump using people and then discarding them without fulfilling obligations. Together, they paint a picture of a president who treats everything and everyone as disposable. Relationships with old acquaintances, national security protocols, promises to young staffers. All of it is optional. All of it can be ignored when it becomes inconvenient, and all of it can be rewritten after the fact to make Trump look better. Clinton's testimony gives Democrats a concrete basis to demand Trump testify under oath about Epstein. The Pentagon leak keeps alive questions about Trump's fitness as commander-in-chief at the exact moment he's threatening new conflicts abroad. The unpaid staff story undercuts his businessman branding and reinforces what people instinctively understand from their own experience. When Trump says only he can fix it, the people around him keep getting stiffed on promised wages, ignored when they raise security concerns, and exposed to danger when things go wrong. And when it all blows up, Trump needs someone else to blame. This is the pattern. It's undeniable now, and it's catching up to him. Stay locked in. More Epstein files are coming. More investigations are ongoing, and the subpoena fight over Trump testifying under oath is just beginning.